Welcome to the stream. It has been some time since your boy has streamed or been on YouTube. I've been taking a break. So, for those of you who may be watching this on the replay or you here live, welcome to the channel where I talk Marvel, DC, cartoons, a ton of other stuff that I'm interested in. So, if you guys like that kind of content, stay tuned and subscribe and stuff because got some great things coming. But yeah, I decided to take like a bit of a 2 week, kind of like a bit of a 2 week break from YouTube. I just felt like I needed to, and I'm back. I'm ready, and you guys see we're talking about Daredevil Born Again. Daredevil Born Again, the highly anticipated show. Did it live up to the hype? Has it lived up to the hype so far? We're gonna get all somebody joining. I definitely would love to hear your thoughts about the show and the first episodes. Um, it's definitely interesting. It's definitely interesting, in my honest opinion. I think that Daredevil Born Again does a lot of things that you wouldn't think they would. In the first 15 minutes, of the entire show so far, it's very bold. It's very bold what they decide to do with certain characters and things of that nature. You guys see, I posted up the big question: Is Foggy dead? So for those of you who don't know, Foggy is dead. I think he could not be. There might be a fake out, but we'll have to see. As far as that goes, I know the actor Eldon Henson. They said, I think Brad Winterbaum said that he was going to be returning in season two. Now that honestly could be just for flashbacks, but we'll have to see if Foggy returns or if Foggy is dead. So we'll have to see about that. But Bullseye, I mean, Bullseye is a straight up menace. I mean, we knew that from season three of Daredevil, which is my favorite season. And I love the Daredevil in its entirety, but season three is probably my favorite season out of all of them. And they kind of continue this in with this series as well. So I think that, with that in mind, I think it's cool that when the series, started out, it was going to be a complete like reboot. Like all the characters that we were gonna have, like Foggy was gonna be killed off screen. I think Karen wasn't even gonna be even mentioned in the show. And to see where things changed and now we had the characters, even though Foggy is now dead, quote unquote dead, um, I still think that them, including those characters is kind of like their way of saying like, hey, we haven't forgot about these characters. And so hopefully we see Karen again. It feels like we might see her again. I think I still have like this big suspicion about Foggy's death if he's really dead. Just kind of based off of some comic book knowledge of what I know and what I've read before about Foggy Nelson. He faked his death before, so I wonder if they're gonna do something similar to that. That's something we'll have to see. But yeah, I want to get into your guys' comments, what you guys are saying. You said the day the Earth blew up, this movie will be amazing. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. I think it comes out this week, right? I believe the movie comes out this week. I was going to do a video on it about the new release date and stuff, but I just got so busy with other stuff and I just didn't have the time. So, but I'm looking forward to the movie. I'm excited to see it. I'm gonna go see it wherever theater it's gonna be playing at. So yeah, I'll give you a review on that movie. Hey friend, it's been a while. So are you guys doing? Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Janine, how are you doing? It looks like you've been working on stuff. It sounds like. I didn't watch can't watch Daredevil. It's too much for me. Understandable, understandable. But yeah, if there is anyone here, I don't know if there is, but if there is anyone here, that is, I want to hear your thoughts about Daredevil. What did you think about the show? We got introduced to some new characters as well. And I kind of like the new characters. I like that in a way they kind of serve like a different purpose. Like they're just not new characters that just got newly introduced. And Matt's interactions with the new characters I'm liking. I will say I do feel like these first two episodes, it's a bit of a slow burn. It's a bit of a slow start, but so far I think it's good. I think it's good. I think the first two episodes kind of reeled me in. I'm looking forward to uh, tomorrow's episode as well. So I mean, what can I say? Like, not everything is gonna be a one to one of the Netflix series, and I'm actually glad that it's not a one to one from the Netflix series. I'm glad that this show is doing different things, doing different, bringing in different characters and things like that, while still kind of maintaining that feel and the vibe of the same actors, that and characters that we've had in the previous Daredevil series. So I can appreciate it for that. Kingpin, shout out to Vincent D'Onofrio, talented actor. All of them are talented actors and actresses in this show. I think what is her name? Kirsten Dunst, the one that plays her. I know that she's in the show Severance, which Severance I've seen like a few episodes of, which is a really good show. I would love to talk about Severance, but I don't know if there would be many people who would be interested about me talking about other shows like that. Because I do watch other shows, like I'm watching Paradise on Hulu right now currently, which is really good. I definitely suggest that. Obviously, I'm watching it Invincible as well. Um, Invincible season 3 is like really good, really good. So I'm trying to catch up on some things and stuff like that. Geekly, what's up? What's up? How you doing? I literally had to watch the first two episodes 3 times to figure out how I felt about it. I enjoyed the premiere a lot, but had a lot of things that didn't fully sit well with me on the first viewing. However, after rewatching and sitting on it, I am way more locked in and genuinely hyped for the direction it's going. Yeah, I agree. Me and my buddy, we were watching the show together, and I was kind of like, we were pointing out different things, like, oh, that's cool, different little camera angles, the different coloring and stuff like that. And they kind of get you into the beginning, like we get to the Nelson Murdock and Page office, and it is kind of like that. Even with Foggy in that line he says about nostalgia, I think is the reference of the past or something he said along those lines. I think that was their way of kind of saying like, hey guys, like we appreciate the original show just as much as you guys do, while also kind of veering off into like a new path. And so that's kind of what this new show did. It kind of veered off into its own path, but I appreciate it. Now I know it's kind of controversial about Foggy about killing them off if he is dead. I'm still like 50-50. I don't really know if he is dead. I mean, like I said, just kind of going based off of just comic book knowledge and things like that. If they decide to go that route, um, so he could be dead, he could not be dead. That's something we'll have to see as time moves on into the series. But yeah, I'm glad you are hyped about the direction. There are some things too, like I said, I do feel like the first two episodes are a bit slow. They're a bit of a slow burn, but I don't mind it because it's kind of reeling us back into this world. Uh, I like to think of the first episode as kind of like X-Men 97. You know how X-Men 97, the first episode, was kind of like, hey guys, these characters that you've seen before, they're back, and we're kind of bringing you back into the world. So the first episode was kind of like that for me. It was like that introduction. And then, like, after the first 15 minutes, that's where things kind of pick up and stuff like that. So, yeah. Um, but yeah, if there's anyone else who has like any thoughts about the show and things of that nature, I'd love to hear because I won't be on like too long about it, but I won't be on like too long, streaming and stuff. But I kind of just wanted to at least do like an hour, kind of like giving my thoughts and like kind of also hearing your thoughts about the series. You said I agree, hit the nail on the head. Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely curious about where they go with the next couple episodes because that ending of episode 2, it seems like we're gonna get Daredevil earlier than they expected. Because I know in the original draft of the show, before they retooled it and everything, we weren't going to see Daredevil in his suit until like episode 4. And I'm glad they changed that. Like they gave us that the first 15 minutes, we saw him in the suit, and then we're kind of getting sort of that thing where he stops being Daredevil for a year. They say like a year later, so we know it's a time skip. And, things have changed. Like I said, you know, Matt isn't in the same office that he was in. He's in a different office. He has a different apartment. He has a different friend group and things like that. So, um, in a matter of a year, you would imagine like things would change, and Matt has a new love interest now. Obviously, I will always be Matt and Karen like that. That's my whole thing. But I do like Heather, the new character Heather. I do like how they kind of had this whole like weird coincidence because Kirsten kind of set them both up on a date. So it's kind of funny how they played off, but I like the dynamic between those two. And I'm sure we're going to see more of that. I know there's a scene in the trailer that they're at like some kind of club or some kind of event where they're dancing and stuff, and there's obviously some other scenes in there where things get very romantic, but other than that, like, I like Heather's character. um, I like how Muse is sort of a slow burn. Like, obviously, in episode 1, we saw him, spraying the graffiti of Kingpin on the wall. And then in the next episode, we get introduced to him. He's at the therapist session group thing that they have going on. So we're getting little bits and pieces of Muse. We haven't seen Muse in a costume yet, unless you've seen the trailers, then we have, but we haven't really seen him in action yet. But I'm sure we will. The Punisher tattoo on the cop, that's something that I didn't think this show would touch into. And for those of you who don't really know the history about this, if you know Punisher, he's not really a hero. You know, he's more of a um, he's like a more of a grayscale character in the fact of he punishes people, right? So obviously, I won't go too far into it, but what I will say is I do think it's interesting that they're doing this because if you haven't seen, like, you can just look up images of over the past couple of years, there's been actual police officers who have used the Punisher logo, which is very ironic because the Punisher is a character that you would want to not support because he's someone who literally punishes and kills people, right? Even though you may think it's morally right, it's not in the sense of you're still punishing people. And an officer's job is to protect and serve. That's how I always, picture like police officers. But again, over time, people have used that logo and used the Punisher's character, and it's kind of diminished his character as well because they've used that logo. And again, it's very ironic that there are police officers who use that, not really understanding or knowing, the history behind the Punisher character. And that's kind of why we haven't seen the Punisher character in Marvel for some time because of that controversy going on. So I like that this show is taking those elements of things that are happening in real life, but are also tying it back into this Marvel world that we love so much. So I'm really curious about where they go in terms of that topic. Obviously, like I said, we got Kingpin. We got the whole he's gonna be doing everything that he can, that he possibly can, to make sure that vigilantes aren't roaming around the streets of New York. It's gonna get very crazy, I'm sure. And just kind of going based off of his speech in the beginning of episode 2, where he's like mentioning the Punisher, mentioning Spider-Man, mentioning Daredevil, and I'm pretty sure a ton of other vigilantes that we've been introduced to throughout New York and throughout the Marvel Cinematic Universe. you know I would imagine this is gonna be their way to bring them in, because now this isn't just a Hell's Kitchen problem. This is a New York problem. So it definitely seems like they're gonna be setting up Kingpin as the big overarching villain for the street level side of the MCU, which I'm all for. I would love to see other street level villains get introduced. Like, you get the Rose, you get some of Punisher's villains in play. There's so many different villains and stuff that we've had, throughout Marvel's history that, we haven't seen on screen before, that I'm sure they can do some really compelling things to kind of tie this all back into this is Kingpin's doing. And like I said, I don't know what they're gonna do with Spider-Man 4. Uh, I would love if they could at least just mention Kingpin. Like, they don't have to go the whole route of doing him, even though that's something that I'm sure a lot of us would like to see in Spider-Man 4. Like, personally, I would love to see that. But it just doesn't seem like, with the direction that they're doing with Spider-Man 4, that they're going that route. It seems like, Spider-Man 4 is going to be a bit of a multiversal movie, which again is kind of unfortunate. There might be some street elements to it. There might be a mix, but I do feel like they're going to be focused on the multiverse saga and closing that out. And I think Spider-Man 4 is going to have, and again, I don't know anything, but this is just like my mindset, kind of like what I'm thinking, right? I think they're going to try to tie all that up with Spider-Man 4 and then have them in Secret Wars, and then I'm pretty sure afterwards we'll probably get a lot of that, like Kingpin and, Devil's Reign and stuff like that. We'll probably get something like that. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most. I'm not saying that I've hated the multiverse saga. I don't hate the multiverse saga. There's been some good things with the multiverse saga, and personally, there's been some, kind of questionable things with the multiverse saga. But I don't hate it. There are some things I do feel like were missed opportunities, yes, but it happens, right? And, it seems like Marvel is really doing what they can to try to get back on track. And I know everybody's kind of in this train right now where everyone's just uncertain with Marvel or hating Marvel or whatever it is. And, that's your opinion. And it's not, you can't make people kind of sway them. That's their opinion on it. If that's the way they feel, that's the way they feel. But I think personally, I think Marvel is just kind of trying to figure this all out, and maybe they just didn't have it all, figured out. And no studio has it all figured out. No person has it all figured out. So to make it completely, to blame on them, I think, isn't always the best thing, because again, at the end of the day, these are working human beings who are trying to bring stuff to entertain us. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in this whole thing of, you know, oh, these are characters, and these characters mean a lot to me, and it's like, yeah, that's true. Like, these characters do mean a lot to us, but also at the same time, it's kind of like, I feel like there's just so much discourse now with just not just Marvel, but with stuff in general. Like, there's just so much discourse, and I don't know. I just kind of gotten to a point where I started to kind of fade out that discourse and kind of just wanted to go on my own journey, my own thoughts about these characters, what I like, what I don't like, what they could do differently. Like, that's sort of how, where I've been at with stuff recently. Like, the Thunderbolts, I won't lie to you. At first, I was a little adamant about the Thunderbolts. I was a little nervous, but kind of more and more, I'm warming up to it. I'm very interested in the Thunderbolts, and I'm definitely gonna go see the movie. Like I'm definitely gonna go see it. I'm definitely gonna go see Fantastic Four. Same on the DC side, Superman. When we get Lanterns next year, like I'm gonna check out everything. I'm gonna try to be more optimistic and be more pessimistic with things. I may not like certain directions of certain things, and that's okay. But I'm not gonna be someone who's like, oh man, this is bad. Oh, the MCU is dead, and it's never been the same since Endgame. I'm not gonna be that way because I just feel like I feel like people are just saying that, and maybe some people do genuinely feel that way. And if you feel that way, that's fine. But I do feel like in some reason, it does come off like it's the popular thing to say. Like it's the popular thing now to hate things. And you probably notice that, watching YouTube. There's a lot of people who hate watch things or hate do all these like hot, opinion videos about things or about shows before they even come out, and that negativity, it seems like the negativity sells now. And it's unfortunate because when you're someone who's like optimistic about stuff, who you can criticize certain things or say that you didn't like certain directions, when you aren't someone who isn't like full on bashing something or being negative or things like that, people think that you're a shield or you're all these things, but it's not that. It's like, no, it's like I just want to give stuff a chance. And more and more my attitude, not just with movies and just stuff in general, I want to give stuff a chance. If I like it, I like it. If I didn't like it, that's okay. Like it's not the end of the world. It's not gonna it's not gonna inflame my life because I didn't like a movie. Like it's fine. It's okay. The cool thing about Hollywood is that you get to take these risks. You get to, try to tell a story, a compelling story, and sometimes you succeed with it, and sometimes you don't. Like that's just the way the industry works. And not just that industry, but just anything you do in life. Like, you know, it all takes being able to have an idea and seeing where that idea may take you, even if it's not the best and brightest of ideas. At least you say you tried, and that's just kind of my attitude with stuff lately. Um, so yeah, you said street level Marvel has me more invested than the multiverse side of things for sure. And don't get me wrong, I'm still a fan of multiverse projects, but the street level side has more to offer at the moment. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I just feel like with the multiverse stuff, I feel like the amount of time we've gotten with the multiverse saga, I feel like we just haven't had enough time. I feel like with phases 1 and 3, and I don't like to compare. I don't like to be someone who compares things because I think when you try to compare things, you kind of miss the whole thing of trying to be different. But I will say with phases 1 and 3, I do feel 1 through 3, I do feel like we had some time to kind of build up, the Infinity Saga. Even though I still feel like there are certain things that I kind of wish, even with the Infinity Saga, I do wish that maybe they should have waited a little bit longer for an Infinity War or an Endgame, in my honest opinion. I do feel that way in certain regards. But with this saga, I just feel like we just haven't had enough time to just properly build up things. And like I said, I'm not going to be that, I'm not going to be a downer or anything like that. I just wish we had more time. I wish we had more time to establish these characters because I just don't think one movie and a TV show is going to do it. Like, you need more than that. Like, you need 2 seasons, 2 movies. I feel like 2 to 3 movies at the minimum. I feel like with these characters to kind of get us introduced into them, and I don't know. right now I agree with you. Like I feel like the street level side of things just has so much more to offer because I feel like you're getting the proper time to build all this up. Like we're getting season 2. I believe they're filming season 2 of Daredevil Born Again as we speak right now, or getting ready to set up for filming. So again, with Brad Witterbaum coming in as the head of streaming and stuff, with the television side and even the animation side of things, when they got the showrunner and now Marvel can start doing multi-season shows and not like a one-off season, it gives these characters more opportunities to grow and breathe. And so when we see these characters in like a big crossover event, like a Secret Wars or Avengers vs. X-Men down the line, we already know some backstory given on these characters. And it doesn't just feel like these characters are just kind of force fed into these projects. And you're kind of like, okay, who's this character? Okay, who's that character? What's their story? So I do I do wish that they maybe, and I know this is going to be a hot take, but I do kind of feel like maybe in a way, maybe they should delay Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Maybe they do need an extra year or extra 2 years to kind of build things up properly. But again, that would kind of be like, well, what about the X-Men? What about all this stuff that we have planned? So again, it's a tough call. It's a tough call and a tough situation, and I do feel like with the pandemic, I do feel like when in that regards, there was probably a lot more they wanted to do, but maybe just didn't have the time to, or just didn't have the resources to do it. I don't know. I don't know what it could have been, but I do feel like I said, I do feel like we just need more time with these characters, because you get characters like Moon Knight, right? Moon Knight gets a season of a show, and Brad Winterbaum comes out and says like, "Hey, Moon Knight's gonna come back. It's just a matter of, you know, it's just a matter of when he's gonna come back. I mean, he could come back in Midnight Suns, if that's a thing. I think that's a thing. I heard there was like a writer. They got like a writer, but I think the writer left for Midnight Suns. So I think that is a project that is in development. And then you have like a who knows, maybe he could show up in a Daredevil season 2 because we know he's in New York. Jake Lockley is in New York. That's where we ended things off with that character. So could we see a Jake Lockley working with a Matt Murdock on a case? Could we see that? I mean, that would be cool. I would love to see more Moon Knight. I think if any of the Marvel shows that I feel like had the most potential, I think Moon Knight was definitely one of them. And I feel like Moon Knight would have been a better show had they just given them the rating that they gave Born Again, that mature rating for them to go and do a little bit more, go into that darker element, in terms of Moon Knight and a lot of his stories. And that's why it kind of sucks that we're not potentially won't get a season 2 of Moon Knight because I would love to see them, extend the rating up to a TVMA so that way we can see Moon Knight, go to work and do all those different stories and things like that I'm sure they wanted to tell, but maybe just didn't have the resources. Like I said, it's kind of hard to be up in the air and really know like what goes on, and like places like Marvel, you can only like guess, you can only make a prediction, but if you're not someone who works there, it's kind of hard to kind of like get a grasp and understanding like, okay, why did you go this direction? Okay, why did you go that direction? you know but yeah, you said a delay wouldn't bother me. I know I'm not a part of the writing team or anything, but as it stands now, I have no idea how they can pull off that movie in such little time with projects we have left. Exactly. Like, there's so many open questions. And, you have these post credit scenes that, are kind of like, they're like pointing arrows. They're kind of like all over the board. You don't know where they go to. So you kind of just trying to understand like where does this all go? And unfortunately, I feel like some of the post credit scenes we might not see for maybe the next saga unfortunately. Like the Eternals post credit scene. Like obviously we heard Blade, we heard Mahershala Ali's voice, but we didn't see him. And with Blade being delayed, and that's a whole other thing in itself. And I know it's a running meme about Blade, but I just feel like with Blade they're trying to save it up for a reason. Like there's a reason as to why Blade is probably being pushed back. And maybe they just didn't want Blade to be involved with the multiverse saga. Maybe things changed. Maybe this Blade that we were going to get in the first beginning, and this isn't, I don't know anything, but maybe this Blade was going to be from a different multiverse. You know, I think they were saying that Blade was going to be set in like a what? Like a 1930s world or something at one point. That was like one of the things if I remember correctly. So it seems like Blade was gonna play into that like multiverse thing, but maybe that decision changed. Maybe they said like, no, we want to establish our own Blade in MCU proper. So it seems like to me that's the goal and that's the idea they want to go with. And I'm hoping for good things with Blade. Blade is one of my favorite Marvel characters, and I would just love to see Blade on screen because I think there's a lot of things you can do with Blade and also other characters surrounding Blade. So that's how I feel about it. You said guys at New Rockstars and Screen Crush on YouTube have insiders. They're usually on it when it comes to where it goes. Also, I think Daredevil Born Again is amazing so far. Well, awesome, Bucky Barnes. Also, Bucky Barnes, speaking of that, I am excited for Thunderbolts. I can't wait to see Bucky Barnes again. I'm very curious to see what things are going to happen with the Thunderbolts. It seems like they are going to maybe do something with the Void. Seems like we are going to see like the Void kind of take over New York, and that's an interesting concept in itself because I wonder, are we going to see how other heroes are going to react to that? How are they going to feel about this big overarching void all of a sudden in New York? You know, is that going to be something that we see during the movie? Is that going to be something that they're going to continue to keep with throughout the multiverse saga? You know, that's something in itself that I'm very curious about. I would love to see the void be something that, yeah, it is this overarching thing throughout the rest of the multiverse. And then, you know, you get the Fantastic Four whenever they do come into the MCU proper. Maybe they can come to New York and legit see this big void just all over New York, and they're questioning like, what is this? Like maybe Mr. Fantastic, he might already know what's going on, so he could be like, I know what's going on here. Like the legit universe is starting to void off. So there's a lot of things they could do with that, and that's why I'm so curious. I don't think they'll show up in like Thunderbolts or anything, but I do think like with Fantastic Four, if they want to continue that story, I think it would be a good way to continue having the void just all over New York City in a way to show like, okay, things are really starting to pick up now. Like things are really starting to get bad. But like I said before, I feel like personally there needed to be more time. There needed to be more time. And, you know, making movies is a very difficult thing. Like, making movies isn't just like a one and done, like, hey, let's write a script. Hey, let's get this person to direct. Let's get this person to, do cinematography and all this stuff. Like, it's a process. I've never been on a movie, but, I've watched a lot of behind the scenes when it comes to doing movies and the process behind doing movies and stuff because I almost went to college for like directing film and stuff, so that is something I do want to do. So I have been kind of thinking about maybe getting into college for film because I would love to direct movies and stuff in the future as well as act in movies. That's a big goal of mine, but there's a process for sure when it comes to doing movies and stuff. So when it takes you like a year to 2 years and things like that, you know, it takes a while to, do these movies. And like, could they have maybe greenlit maybe like two Captain America movies and maybe like I don't know, a Young Avengers movie or something? Could they have greenlit that? Yeah, maybe. Did we need a Secret Invasion show? No, we didn't. That could have been in place for something else. Did we need like what else do I feel like we didn't need? Although what if in concept is kind of in that realm of that, I feel like what if could have been done differently. Um, Maybe that could have been for like a completely different concept of what if could have been. I don't know, but it's kind of hard to kind of just pinpoint like how they should have started this phase. Um, Maybe that's a stream idea we could do if you guys want to like concept what our own phase 4 and 5 could have been. I think that would be a cool idea to do something like that, just to kind of see what our minds are in terms of how we would have booked like a phase 4, 5, and a potentially a 6 leading into Doomsday and Secret Wars. So yeah, I appreciate it, Geekly. You said, great watching the stream, dude. Just want to hang out for a bit while I'm on my break. Gotta head back in now. Best of luck to you for the rest of the stream. Thank you, man. Appreciate you coming in as always. It's always great to just, have great people coming in and stuff. So you've always been like very supportive. So I really appreciate you. And I hope you have a great rest of your day and week. I'll probably be back on Thursday to do episode 2, not episode 2, episode 3 of Daredevil Word again. So I'll give my review on that on Thursday, same time. But yeah, so jumping back into Daredevil Born Again, since we're kind of segueing that way, um, do you think we might see some defenders? Because I'm starting to feel like we are going to see some defenders at some point. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm back. But yeah, do you think we're gonna see some defenders? Like we're already gonna see Punisher, and we already know Punisher is having his own special presentation. And I think John Bernthal like talked recently about that too. Like he's very excited for his, presentation. Will this Punisher cop thing that we got going on, will that storyline continue into the Punisher um, special presentation? That's something we'll have to find out. But it seems like Punisher is definitely going to be on a mission after the series. Could we see another Defenders character in that special presentation? Like, the possibilities are endless now. Like, they've opened the gates for us to see a Jessica Jones, a Luke Cage, and, an Iron Fist and things like that. Maybe a Colon Wing. I thought she was a very interesting character, and you know, Iron Fist, and I know her and Misty Knight were going to have a show, and that got canceled. So, will we see those characters show up? Um, it does kind of suck though that we don't have a Miles Morales, because Miles and Misty Knight, like in the comics, they're kind of like partners. They're like solve crime and stuff together before, so it sucks that there is no Miles, because I think that would be cool just to have Miles with Peter, and maybe Peter's doing his own thing and then Miles, he's doing his own thing, you know, because Miles has his own villains. So I don't know. It kind of sucks. And even if they decide to do like Secret Wars and stuff, has a role in like the Secret Wars comic too, right? Like I think he was like the first character that Doctor Strange kind of recognized. He was like, "Wait a minute. You're from another universe, aren't you?" So that, and then you have the scene where both Peter and Miles are, down in this little area that Doctor Doom has, Molecule Man in, right? And because Molecule Man is locked up, they give Molecule Man like a hamburger, right? Like there's scenes like that. Now I don't know if they'll put scenes like that in Avengers Doomsday or Secret Wars, but I think those little scenes would be kind of nice just to kind of show like there are other heroes from alternate universes that's going to be in here. So an alternate Miles Morales, I think it makes sense, but will they do it though? I don't know. From the sounds of it, I don't know if they will. I'd love to see it personally, but I don't know. Like there's even characters like missing from like certain things from Secret Wars that I'm like, are certain characters gonna are they gonna switch certain characters for certain storylines? Like how is that gonna go? And that's why I said earlier, like I just feel like they need a proper build up to this because they don't have all the characters like a Black Bolt. Black Bolt is another character. We saw him in Multiverse of Madness, but you know what happened to Black Bolt in that universe. So even then, like I don't know. John M, what's up? You said, "Hey there. What do you think of the rumor about animated and live action characters possibly interacting in Secret Wars?" I think it's an interesting concept, and it wouldn't be anything far fetched from what we've seen before because we already kind of had that in Across the Spider Verse. We had that scene with Miles interacting with Donald Glover's Prowler. Even though we haven't seen that Prowler in his suit, we know that's him. So I think the way they handled that scene, I think worked really well. So the fact that they're trying to possibly get in like maybe X-Men 97 characters, maybe Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man characters, who knows, maybe some other characters in there. I think it's interesting and it just adds more to this Marvel universe, Marvel multiverse. You know, not every world is this like live action setting. Like there's other universes out there that are animated and all different kinds of styles. And I'll touch on this just a little bit because I thought this was interesting, and I might actually do a video on this because I think this series could have actually been really cool. But there is a canceled series that I heard about recently, animated series called Iron Man 3000. And so the idea of Iron Man 3000 was pretty much going to be following Tony Stark's daughter, Morgan Stark. And I thought about that, and there's like concepts out there of it. And I looked at the show, and I said like, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they make this? Iron Man is a very beloved character, but imagine kind of going through this journey with like a younger Iron Woman, with Morgan Stark and that sort of thing. And I love the vibe of the show. Like it looked like it was gonna have like this speed racer, early '90s anime type vibe to it. And I thought that was like a really interesting concept. And I was like, why didn't Marvel do this? Like this would have been really cool. So I don't know. Could we see her in there, even though she's a canceled project? It still wouldn't be too far as to not have her show up in it, even if she isn't, even if she doesn't have her own show. I still think it just would have been cool to have like had her, have her own show because in animation, like I said, with Marvel animation, they can do so much now. There's so many different animated shows and projects that they could do on that brand alone, and they don't have to connect to the MCU. That's why X-Men 97 works. That's why Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man works. Now, granted, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man takes certain liberties from the MCU. It's not the MCU proper. It's its own, like, alternate timeline. So that's why we're able to get like a lot of villains and stuff that we haven't seen in the MCU proper because it just works. Now, obviously, I did see the interview with Jeff Tramiel, and he was talking about, I think it was with the break room with Real Rejects, not Real Rejects, but New Rock Stars. They have like the break room podcast, and he was on there talking about like the two characters he couldn't use was like Hydro Man and Fantastic Four, which is a bummer because I had like an overarching theory that the Osborn suit, which is the Future Foundation suit, but they named it the Osborn suit in the show, maybe had some ties to the Fantastic Four. But knowing that they're not able to use the Fantastic Four in the show, at least as of right now, is a bit of a bummer. But maybe they did that because they hadn't introduced the Fantastic Four in the MCU properly, so that's why they weren't able to. So who knows? Maybe we could see Fantastic Four in a future season. Hydra Man, though, that is very interesting that they decided not Hydra Man, Big Will. I thought it was Hydra Man. It's Big Will. That's what that's the one he said that they couldn't use. I thought it was interesting. Now, Big Will did get referenced in Spider-Man 2. When you go to Coney Island, there's like you got Big Will, there's like a Hydro Man reference, obviously a Mysterio reference, which Mysterio was in the game. Speed Demon was also a reference there as well. So I think it might be just certain liberties that you're able to use certain characters. So maybe at that time, because they use that reference in at Coney Island, maybe they weren't able to use it. But I still think Big Will is one of those villains that's kind of like really like you couldn't use him. So I wonder if they have plans with Big Will, and that's why they're not letting them use it. Kind of makes you wonder. But you said, "Oh yeah, I had the same reaction when I heard that as well." Iron Man 3000 could still happen. Yeah, it could still happen, and like I said, I think it would be cool to follow a story with Morgan Stark, kind of filling that void of Tony Stark in a way. How would she go about certain things, and would she look at her father and kind of see like, well, I don't want to do things the way my father does them. I want to do sort of things on my own. And like I said, I just love the style of it too. Like I said, that Speed Racer, Sailor Moon, early '90s anime type style that they were going with that show. It would have been really cool to see. So hopefully, I hope it does happen because again, I would love to see it. Solomon, what's up, man? You said, yo, the two episodes were good. You said that, but for some reason, I do think they're setting up a rematch between Kingpin and Matt. Oh, for sure. Because I still, in some way, and this is kind of like that untrust, that like intuition in me. I still think Kingpin had something to do with Foggy's death. I really do. And kind of like even when in his response when they were at the diner, his response to me just felt very off. When he was kind of like, "I'm sorry about your friend," right? Like even though he was acknowledging it, I still think it's a little odd. With certain phrases that he was saying, like to me, it kind of feels like maybe he was more involved with it. Maybe that was his way of kind of getting back in good with Bullseye. Maybe that was his way of getting back in good with Kingpin. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't put it past Kingpin. Kingpin is going to be Kingpin at the end of the day, and regardless if he's a politician, a mayor, or president, Kingpin is going to do Kingpin things. So I definitely feel like he was involved in some way with Foggy's potential death. If he is dead. Which leads you to the great question, John. Do you think Foggy's death was a fake out? Considering Daredevil's powers, that would be quite the surprise. I think so. I think it's a possibility. And the reason why I say that was because I feel like Matt, in a way, kind of checked out. Like, after hearing, he kind of checked out. So he wasn't like able to fully like hear if Foggy passed. Like he still was hearing heartbeats, just not as fast as he regularly would hear heartbeats. So he kind of already checked out and was kind of like in like on Bullseye. He was like, "Why? Why would you do that?" And he started beating him and things like that. And obviously, we saw him drop, Bullseye off the roof, which somehow he survived. Which even then, I have a theory about that because at the end of season 3, we saw that scene with Bullseye. They were working on his spine, and I believe his spine is made of what do they call it? I forgot what they called it in the show, but I know like in the comics, I think that Bullseye his spine is like made up of like adamantium, but I might be wrong about that. I might be wrong about that. So if I am, like, please correct me because I don't want to be wrong there. Which this would tie into the timeline because now the question is, we just saw adamantium get introduced into the MCU with Brave New World. So if that's the case, then that would mean that adamantium is now being sold throughout, different countries throughout the world in the MCU. Um, because if that is, that could lead to some interesting things, even on the street level side of that whole thing. Because we can start seeing like you know different villains and stuff and villain groups wearing adamantium weapons and armor and stuff. Even before the X-Men get introduced. So I don't know if they are going to do that, but it is an interesting thing. But to answer your question, John, I do think it is possible for Foggy to still be alive and him fake his death because it's happened in the comics before. The Secret Life of Foggy Nelson. We saw what happened to him, and he faked his death, and that was a whole thing in itself. And even in Karen, if you look back at that court scene, even in Karen's actions, when her and Matt were having that conversation, and she was like, I moved to San Francisco, and this, that, and the fourth, which that also ties into West Coast Avengers because you have She-Hulk, she's in L.A., Wonder Man is in L.A., Shang-Chi is I believe is in San Francisco. I think the Ant-Man family is in San Francisco as well, so you kind of already have that tie-in to maybe Karen has maybe somehow bumped into like a Shang-Chi or a She-Hulk at some point because we did see Daredevil and She-Hulk. So was Matt looking for Karen at that time when he bumped into She-Hulk at the bar? Because we didn't really know for sure what he was doing there. Like obviously it was for like a case, but we don't really know the full extent as to why Matt was over on the West Coast. So there's still some mystery there. Kingpin is literally, yeah, definitely, definitely for sure. And then we got White Tiger. Yeah, White Tiger, he was putting in work. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of White Tiger. Rest in peace to the actor as well. But he's a very good actor. I've seen him in other projects and shows as well. He's a very good actor. It's a bummer that he wasn't able to see his work in full. I don't know what they're gonna do with the White Tiger character. Are they gonna kill him off, or are they gonna recast him? I'm definitely curious about that. I know there was like a rumor a while ago about having his sister take the place of White Tiger, which we've seen his sister before. We saw her in Ultimate Spider-Man and stuff like that. So that could be something that they do. It's definitely not adamantium. It's something else I forgot too. Yeah, I someone said what it was the other day, and now it's not clicking with me they said it was made out of his spine. But it was definitely like some strong material, and that's why when he took that fall, the material that he's instilled with, he was able to survive that fall. So yeah. And even in that court scene, like he had like just this smug smirk the entire time, like just no remorse for what he did. He had no remorse for just sending so many people to the upper room. So in Ultimate Spider-Man, they changed to being his daughter and inheriting the amulet. I could see them doing something like that. They've set up so many legacy characters already. Yeah, for sure. I definitely see that. Like even in, I don't know if you guys noticed, but like I noticed when is Cherry, I think that's his name. When Cherry and Kirsten went to investigate his house, there's a picture up on the wall, which there's like a young girl there. Could that be his sister? Could that be his daughter? That's something we'll have to find out. But maybe that's who takes his place, his daughter, like you said, his daughter or his sister. It could be either one. So maybe we already know who is next in line, just kind of based off that picture that they had in his place. I think we're going to see a fight between a version of White Tiger and Daredevil would be Fire, actually. I think they fought in the comics. They have. They have fought before. So I definitely could see that. Um, that's going to be an interesting interaction, knowing that he knows him without the without the white tiger costume. He knows him from his case. Even though he kind of already even though he like already knows, cuz again, Cherry and Kirsten went to investigate his house. And so he kind of like learned from them like, yo, this is the white tiger and things like that. Even down to the amulet. I'm really curious about the amulet, how that's going to come into play. And that's like the second character so far that I've noticed we're getting into like that magical side, that mystical side of things. Like with your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, we got Nico Monaro in there, right? Like she's got this like magical amulet, right? So it seems like Marvel is starting to lean more into that like magical, mystical stuff, which I appreciate because that is another interesting side of Marvel that I feel like doesn't get. We haven't had too much of this outside of Doctor Strange, and like the Scarlet Witch and stuff like that, and Agatha. Like I feel like we haven't had too much of on the street level side. We've had it on the magical side and the multiversal side, but the street level side, like you get your Iron Fist and characters like that. Then you're diving into like the mystic arts of things. Oh yeah, Bullseye definitely knows he's getting out for sure. Yeah, he's getting out. He's gonna get out. He's gonna wreak more havoc, and we're gonna see him in a proper Bullseye suit. The next time we see him, he's gonna have that helmet with the bullseye on right there in the middle. It's gonna happen. Um, and like I said, that's gonna be crazy in itself because we already know Bullseye can do damage. His accuracy, his military background, being a sniper. I believe he was a sniper. I think it was Marvel fan that told me he was a sniper, but I might be wrong about that. But very like enforced in the military. So are there any characters that you feel like we haven't seen yet that you think we will see? Like it doesn't have to be just this season. It could maybe be season two or maybe even a season three. Uh, are there some characters that you would want to see? Now, obviously, Matthew Lillard got casted in Daredevil season two, and I think he could be playing a villain because I think Matthew Lillard, he's a really good actor, and I'm really curious as far as like if he is playing a villain, what villain could he play? Like if you were to cast Matthew Lillard right now as any Daredevil villain, who would you cast him as? And this isn't just a question for people in the stream, people who are watching this on the replay. You know, who do you think Matthew Lillard is going to be playing? Let's see. I don't know about you, but I want to fight. I want to fight between Punisher and Bullseye. That would be something. Punisher and Bullseye going hand to hand. Yeah, that would be cool. Knowing both of them and their when it comes to weaponry, Bullseye versus Hawkeye. Ooh, that's a good one too. That's a good matchup. And knowing what we saw with Hawkeye and what he was able to do in the series with all the different arrows and stuff, like imagine like some kind of like homing arrow, right? Like I feel like Hawkeye would definitely create some kind of like homing arrow to kind of counter, Bullseye's accuracy. Because with someone like that, you got to be on the same level of precision and accuracy like Bullseye would. Have they fought in the comics before? I'm curious about that. Have they fought in the comics? If so, let me know. I definitely love to check that battle out and see who won that. And this is a bit of a stretch one too, but Bullseye and Gambit, like how would that fight go down? That would be something in itself. Though I don't would you count would you count Gambit as like someone who's good accuracy wise? Would you count that? I mean, he knows how to throw cards really good. I'm sure he could probably throw other items. He's thrown other items before too, but I wonder. That's an interesting battle. You know, that's a good idea. That's something Marvel could do. Marvel Battle. You guys remember a show called Celebrity Death Battle that used to come on a long time ago? Marvel could do something like that. They could do like a whole series going based off of like battles and stuff with different heroes. I think that would be cool as a series. Not like as a live action series, but like as a animated series or something. Just like two heroes battling it out. Like you got Moon Knight and versus Daredevil and Black Panther versus who could Black Panther go against? I'm trying to think of somebody who's like in that same space as like a Black Panther. Random hot take: Future Avengers needs new season. Future Avengers needs new seasons. I haven't seen Future Avengers before. Is it on Disney? Because if so, I'll check it out. I've been trying to get into like some of the old anime like cartoons. Like obviously, I grew up with the X-Men, and I grew up with stuff like that. But I haven't seen Future Avengers. It's on Disney Plus. Okay, I'll check it out. I probably won't check it out tonight because I got wrestling. Wrestling is coming on tonight, so I'll probably watch that. But I'll probably watch it tomorrow since I don't have anything to do tomorrow until Daredevil comes on, you said it's like anime Avengers with crazy cameos. Okay, I'll check it out. That sounds interesting. Best way to sum it up. All right. Yeah, I'll check it out. I did watch the X-Men anime from the 90s that came out. I thought that was very interesting. I wonder why they never brought it over here, because that would have been kind of cool to kind of have that around that time. And anime was kind of like anime like now is like definitely in its popularity like era, but back then like anime was sort of like it wasn't like this niche thing, but it was definitely like it's starting to grow. You know what I mean? Like it was starting to grow in its popularity, and now it's kind of it's grown to like very big popularity. I still gotta watch Avatar. You guys were telling me to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I haven't had the chance to watch it. But I definitely do want to check that out because I know there's a new Avatar series that's coming out, and I know there's like an Avatar movie with Aang, and he's like a grown up now, so they are somewhat similar. Maybe it's the art style. Really? Okay. So yeah, they probably was the same animation studio that probably did that back then. Let me look it up right now. You said Future Avengers. Future Avengers. I have, you know, I have seen the show. I haven't watched it, but I have seen like commercials. I remember seeing commercials for this. Cause this did this come on Disney XD? I think this came on Disney XD, right? This show does look familiar, very familiar. So who knows? With Marvel Animation, they could bring that back too. Like I said, it's possible. There's so many possibilities with Marvel Animation that they could do with new shows, but also bringing back old shows too. Bushmaster vs Daredevil. Come on, who y'all got? Is Bushmaster the villain with the? I feel like I know who that is. Oh, Bushmaster was Bushmaster. Yeah, he was in Luke Cage season 2. Okay. He was pretty strong in Luke Cage from what I remember. It's been a little bit since watched Luke Cage. I haven't seen a better version of Captain Marvel since Future Avengers. Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll check it out. I did see like a photo of her, a screenshot of her. She's got like the normal suit that she normally has, so I'll definitely dive into it. Yeah, it's on Disney Plus. I just checked. It's on Disney Plus, so I'll check it out sometime this week. Like I said, along with so much I had to catch up on Invincible. Like I caught up on that last week. So I'm all caught up. I saw the latest episode. Invincible's crazy. It just keeps getting crazier. And with them introducing Conquest, from what I've heard about Conquest, it's definitely gonna be it's definitely gonna be interesting with how strong Conquest is and stuff. So I can't wait for that final episode. Bucky Barnes versus Bullseye. That's definitely a fight that does sound possible. Like we could see that, Solomon. Bushmaster was one of my favorite Netflix Marvel villains. Another hot take. I like a Caribbean representation in Bushmaster. I'm from Harlem, so I might be biased about Luke Cage. No, I enjoy Luke Cage too. I did. Like Luke Cage for me, people talk about how Daredevil was up there. Luke Cage was also up there for me too. I really enjoy Luke Cage. And I hate that show didn't get another season 2 because what they were leading with Luke at the end, it seems like they were going to go the route that maybe they could potentially do in this series, or maybe when they build up the street level characters, maybe we could see like Luke Cage kind of taking on more of a leadership role. Kind of like how he does in the comics, where he runs for mayor and he ends up becoming mayor of New York. I think that'd be cool. Gambit versus Bullseye is not even fair. If Gambit wasn't a mutant, yeah, yeah, for sure. But yeah, Bushmaster in season 2, I thought he was a really good villain. And then Diamondback was pretty interesting too in the first season. He had like this like suit on, made him stronger, right? That reminded me a lot of like those old school like vintage comics where characters would kind of like make these like powerful suits and stuff, and they would just be so like overpowered for no reason, and then the hero would have to find a way to beat them. And kind of the way they did that too was kind of like a street fight just out in the neighborhood and everybody's just watching and stuff. I thought it was like a really different idea, but it felt so grounded. Imagine Luke Cage interacting with friendly neighborhood Spider-Man's Tombstone and 110th. Hey, that might be possible. That might be possible because Big Don, I know, if I remember correctly, Big Don was like in the comics like Luke Cage's lawyer at one point because he was like a street thug, and then he became Luke Cage's lawyer at some point too. So who knows? We could see like a Luke Cage pop up. I think that would be cool. Imagine Luke Cage versus Tombstone. Imagine that fight. I'm just getting goosebumps thinking about it. Or Marvel could do like a death battle that could be animated, like Marvel battles, but put them on YouTube. I would watch that for sure. Yeah, like Marvel battles, because I mean Marvel right they could kind of tie that in with Marvel Rivals if they want to, since Marvel Rivals is like a very big, big deal right now. And I'm hearing like Marvel Rivals is like introducing some more characters in the game, which is like awesome that they're gonna add as many characters as they can. I haven't played Marvel Rivals, but I've seen gameplay, I've seen streams of people playing it, and it looks like a fun game. I've never been, someone who's into like RPGs and stuff like that, but I might have to actually check it out because I think I might like it, you know, and stuff. But yeah, they could definitely do like a short animated shorts for like death battles sort of thing like that. Black Panther versus Wolverine. Mmm, that'd be interesting. And they have fought. I think they have fought before. I might be wrong on that. I know obviously Spider-Man and Wolverine have fought before, but I think Black Panther and Wolverine have fought before too. I might be wrong about that though. But currently, like Black Panther, he's helping Miles with his vampire like infection thing that he's got going on, and that storyline is like really interesting. And that's why I say like it sucks that we don't have characters like a Miles Morales in the MCU because you know my hope is that Marvel does hear people wanting T'Challa to come back, wanting T'Challa to be recasted. My hope is that Marvel does hear those people out because again, there's so many stories to tell with T'Challa, and I would just love to see like a team up with T'Challa and Miles. Maybe have sort of that little mentorship kind of thing that they're doing in the comics. So yeah, who knows? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. It's just again, just a matter of what they decide to do. Going back to Foggy, what if he was a scroll and that's a part of the fake out? It's possible. That's a possibility too if they want to continue that scroll, arc. Even though I do feel like I think Secret Invasion kind of put like a bad taste in people's mouth, like a bad aftertaste with the scrolls. It's possible because again, we didn't see him, and this is like what's so all like interesting about all this because for one, we didn't see him in the hospital. For two, we didn't see a funeral for Foggy. Like we saw a little bit of a like obituary with his picture on it. But we never did see a funeral. We never did see the body get buried. So there's still that mystery. If they wanted to, they could still kind of make an excuse to say like, well, technically he's not dead because we technically didn't show him like in the morgue. We didn't show him like getting buried at a funeral. So if they wanted to, remember what he last said to Matt. I don't want to give you an excuse. So I'm thinking he staged it to make him quit being Daredevil for his own good. That's also a possibility because Foggy hasn't always been someone who's been pro Daredevil. He's always like not been a fan of Matt doing this, and when he found out about Matt being Daredevil, it really did like rock him to his core, and he did not like that, and he even moved offices. He moved law firm offices because of the fact that Matt just wouldn't stop being Daredevil. So maybe I could definitely see that being a case for that was his way of saying like, okay, you need to stop being Daredevil. But obviously Matt isn't gonna stop being Daredevil because there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff going on in New York. Oh yeah, we are about to get Invincible versus Conquest. Yeah, we are, and that's gonna be insane. After what I've heard about Conquest and how powerful and strong he is, even then, I don't know how to explain Bullseye's involvement. Don't see Foggy working with Bullseye. Yeah, that's the thing. Unless it's Vanessa, I think it might be Vanessa. I think Vanessa got herself involved in this. She probably ordered a hit out on Foggy because she did order a hit out on who was it? Was it Nadim? I think she ordered a hit out on Nadim because he knew too much. And that's when I believe Point Dexter went and he took him out. Or if I remember that correctly, I think that was who she ordered the hit out on. It might have been some other character. So I think Vanessa is who got involved in all this. Because even Vanessa, she's been making some moves outside of the whole Kingpin thing when he was, away. She was having an affair with another man. Because we saw in that balcony scene that she was talking to him about that. And even in the counselor scene, like you notice how far apart they're sitting, right? Like Kingpin's on this side and she's on the other side, right? It's very odd just how far apart she was from someone that you say that you love, but you were like that far from them. So I definitely feel like Vanessa's been making some moves behind the scenes, and we're gonna find out more and more about what she's been doing all this time, because she's definitely got some tricks up her sleeve. just even her throwing that slant at him in the therapist office about the therapist meeting about, well, I ran the company and it's doing better than it's ever done, right? Like that takes a lot of a lot of like courage to say that, especially to Kingpin. But obviously, Kingpin's not going to do anything because this is Vanessa, right? He loves Vanessa, right? That's his heart. So I think Vanessa planned that whole thing with maybe Foggy dying. But then that asks the question, okay, so I don't know how they would do that. I honestly don't know how they would do that. There's heroes from New York, there's heroes from LA, but there's no heroes from Pennsylvania. At least y'all got Rocky. He's from Philly. Yeah, I mean, that is true. I mean, even though all the heroes live in New York, all of them aren't from New York. You know, Rogue is from Mississippi. You know, Gambit, he's from Louisiana. So although they may not live in their respective places where they were born, you know, they're still live in New York. They're still from different places. I think there is. I might be wrong, but isn't there a hero that did live in Pennsylvania for a time, or was from Pennsylvania? I might be wrong though, but I think there was a Marvel hero that was from Pennsylvania. But yeah, I mean, every hero lives in New York. Every hero lives in the West Coast. So can't forget Canada. You know, Alpha Flight. They're in Canada, so you know there's different places that different heroes come from. It's just that New York is just like the home base for everything that goes on for the most part. And who knows, maybe over the years Marvel could expand to maybe having other heroes come from different parts. Like maybe there could be a hero that comes from Philly, like Pennsylvania. Maybe there is a hero that could come from New Jersey. Well, there is a hero that is from New Jersey. Miss Marvel lives in New Jersey, so I can't say that. Um, but you know, different states and different parts of the world and stuff. Invincible finale is this week. It is, and it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with the finale. I definitely don't see it being a happy ending with the finale. I think Conquest is gonna probably have a different arc with season four. We'll probably get more backstory with Conquest. That's my theory. I don't know if they will do that, but it could be something that they do. Oh, and if you don't know, Kevin, Feige is so mad he could fire the whole Marvel crew. What is he mad about? Don't know about Kevin. Foggy is so mad he could fire the whole. I wonder which. What are you in reference to, Solomon? What are you talking about? Um, that I know it's been like a very like it's been like a very like odd time with stuff. You're talking about the Doomsday stuff. Yeah, that is really very odd how that happened. Now I know that happened what last week, and it was like early in the morning when people found out about it. I saw the leaks. Uh, I saw the concept art. I won't talk too much about it, but I do think it is interesting in concept. Now, will it happen in the movie? That's a 50-50 chance. Because it's concept art, right? Not everything in concept art is what's going to happen in the movie. So I'd look at it from that angle. Like, it's cool to see concept art and some of the things that they were showing off, but I'm not expecting it. Because, again, things change. Things that they might have had planned probably changed now or probably changed, who knows, years ago when this stuff was probably made. So I'm not looking for it to be accurate to the concept art that we've seen. But if they do have some scenes that are kind of similar to what we've seen, I think that's cool. Like I said, I thought there were some interesting ideas in the concept art, but um as far as like if they're gonna do it, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, he's mad because the concept art. Crazy thing is the leaks are still out there, and there's more concept art coming out. Yeah, I did. Like I said, I did see like I said, I saw the concept art. It was like all over my feed. It was like all over, and looked at it and I said like, huh, they're doing this. Oh, they're doing that. Could they possibly do that? And then I almost kind of thought about it too. I was like, then I said to myself, wait a minute, are these real? And I know it was like they found them on ArtStation, which I go on ArtStation a lot as well. To kind of see like behind the scenes as far as like there's a lot of like art stuff you can find on ArtStation, and I like seeing like different things. So at first I thought it was like, is this like fan art? Is this like is this really concept art? Is this real? Is this something that someone just made? So it was kind of like I'm 50-50 on if it's legit, but then it came from one of the artists who worked on other Marvel stuff, so I was kind of like, maybe it is real, but still, I'm not expecting them to do a one-to-one of what they did with the concept art because we don't really know how long that concept art has been in development for. They probably planned that out, who knows, maybe 4 years ago. And again, things changed 4 years ago and stuff. So we don't really know as far as like when that stuff was made. So I'm like I said, that's why I'm not going to go into it thinking like they're gonna do that in the movies, because it may not happen. So, and there's been concept art that they've done for previous movies. Like there was one with Doctor Strange, right? There was one who there was like other a bunch of characters in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness concept art that they had that didn't appear in the movie. Then with Shang-Chi, there was like concept art of what was it? What was that character's name? Not Midnight. Well, I forgot what that character's name was. And then they had Deadpool in there, but obviously Deadpool wasn't in Shang-Chi, so there's always been those little things with concept art where they have like certain random characters in it, but they don't show up in the movie. So that's why hopefully people can kind of see this as like it's concept art, right? It doesn't mean it's 100% final. Things can change. Because if not, then that could be another issue. Yeah, but I do think they intentionally leak things out sometimes. Regarding Doomsday and Secret Wars, how would they have not locked it down tight? Plus, concept art isn't 100%. Exactly. Exactly. And sometimes that does happen. Sometimes, certain things happen, certain companies they leak out stuff, their own stuff, to kind of generate hype. Um, and with a lot of the scoopers and stuff that people online, that kind of also my issue with this whole thing when it comes to like scooper and leak culture is that it kind of, in my honest opinion, it kind of takes away from the movie experience. because you could say like someone could outright say like, oh, so and so is showing up in Doomsday outright. Someone could say that. It could be true. It could not be true. But the fact that that theory and idea is out there, now people are kind of searching to see. Oh, let me check the IMDb. Let me check the film registry. Let me check when they're filming Doomsday and all these different things. Let me figure out the flight schedule for Toby Maguire. Let me find out this stuff. Like people go out of their way to try to find all this stuff, and it's just like it takes away from the movie experience because you're taking away that curiosity of what could be. Because what if certain characters do show up in these movies? Wouldn't you want to be surprised and have that shock factor of, oh snap, I didn't know that this character was going to be in here. Oh snap, I didn't know that this actor was going to be playing this character in this movie. That's dope. Like that first time experience is always going to hit because not knowing that so and so scooper online told you that so and so is going to be in this movie because they hid it behind a paywall. You know what I mean? So it's just something to kind of keep in mind. And that's why when I see stuff, I try not to look too much into it because it's like, well, this person could be right, they could be wrong, they could be just theorizing. So that's why I don't look in too much into those like scoopers and leakers and stuff because it's not always a 100%. Plans can always change, right? Like remember when Deadpool and Wolverine, like when it was announced, right? And people were saying that Magneto was going to be the main villain of that movie. And we found out that wasn't going to be the case. Magneto wasn't anywhere in the movie. It ended up being Charles Xavier's sister, being the villain of the movie. So always take that into account. Um, and even with Deadpool and Wolverine, for me at least, I was so shocked to see, you know, Wesley Snipes' Blade, Channing Tatum Gambit, X-23, all these characters. I was shocked to see them because I didn't know they were going to be in the movie. So when I went to go see the movie that weekend, I popped. Like I was clapping, I was hyped because I didn't know that this was gonna happen. And that's why that movie for me is kind of like on a I respect that movie on a different level because it wasn't a no way home situation where concept art or a trailer would come out and people would say like, "Oh, well, I know this is Toby Maguire because look at the size of his, what in the thing here." Like, you know what I mean? So that's why I say like this leak and spoiler culture. Like, I understand why people do it, and I understand that the certain side of it where it generates hype, but then also at the same time it also kind of does a detriment to the films because now people go in with these expectations of, oh, if this is true, who else is showing up? Maybe this person is showing up, maybe this person is showing up, and then when they go see the movie, now they have these expectations of what they think the movie is going to be, and then when the movie isn't that way, now their expectations are now kind of are not met. So that's why I want to uh, I want to try my best to kind of temper my expectations going into like future Marvel films, but also like Doomsday and Secret Wars because I don't know, they're probably gonna follow the 2015 John Hickman run. Like they're probably more than likely gonna follow that and take certain inspirations from it. But I don't want to feel like I have to go in expecting, Black Bolt and all these other characters coming in through the multiverse that we haven't seen in a while. Like I don't want to go in thinking that. Like I just want to, when Doomsday and Secret Wars comes out, I want to be able to just sit in that theater and just expect anything. Anything can happen. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know who's showing up. I don't care who was at the world premiere of these movies. I just want to sit down and say like, okay, we're here. This is Doomsday. This is Secret Wars. Anything can happen. Surprise me. What's your six-person Secret Wars dream team up? Yours is Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, Hugh Jackman Wolverine, Cage Ghost Rider, Ian ONG, I think that's his name, Mr. Fantastic, Wesley Blade, and Affleck Daredevil. That's a good team. That's a solid team. So here's my six-person Secret Wars dream team up. So it might be a little bit similar to yours, but I'll add some different characters in there, right? So I'm gonna go with Tobey Maguire Spider Man for sure. Hugh Jackman Wolverine. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with an interesting one. X-Men 97 Storm. Uh kind of get some animated stuff in there. Um Ghost Rider for sure. Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider. And then I'll go with Channing Tatum Gambit because I think he's still out there. So I'm gonna go with that. I think I said that's six. So let's see: Toby Spider Man, Hugh Jackman Wolverine, X Men '97 Storm. Who else did I say? I think I said like Electra. No, I didn't say Electra. I said Gambit, Channing Tatum Gambit. Oh, I have like a couple more then. I have like two more. Trying to think who else. I think I said like Nick Cage, Ghost Rider. I want to add one more character in there. I'm gonna add one more character. I want to try to do another animated character. So I'll say like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Peter Parker. There we go. That's my six. I know it's a weird, different team up, but I wanted to try to do a mix of old and animated characters in there too. Yeah, I've been to New York plenty of times. I'm going to say they love rap, they love dancing. Teenagers love wearing puffy jackets. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like New York is a very like instrumental place. A lot of music. Not just rap music, but also jazz and things of that nature. There's a lot of culture up there, all different kinds of culture. It's a mixed bag, and that's what makes New York, because there's so many different areas and different places you can go to, places to eat, people to meet, places to hang out at. Like there's so much in New York, and that's why it's this like big grand scale of things. Like obviously no place is perfect. No place is perfect. And I'm sure New York has its fair share of problems, like any place. But what makes New York so dope is that again, there's so many different cultures and so many different places you can go to and just kind of experience different things. Hey, what's up, Caden? What's up, man? Just hopped on. I hope I'm not too late. No, you're not too late. I might end the stream in like a few minutes, but I still have a little bit of time. Yeah, I'm having a great week. I'm doing better. I'm doing definitely better. I like I said, I need a break off of YouTube for at least like 2 weeks because there were some things that were kind of hitting hard in my personal life, but also just I was getting a little burnt out doing YouTube. And this year I've been trying to work really hard, pushing out videos and stuff, and it was getting to me. So I just needed to take a break to kind of recharge my batteries. I think I'm recharged for the most part, so I'm gonna, like I said, this week I'm gonna do another Daredevil stream. So we're gonna talk episode 3. So there's that. I might have a video idea or two that I might do this week. I don't want to make any promises, but yeah, I'm back. Hey, what's up, Alexander? What's up? Are you from NYC? No, I have family in New York though. I have family in New York. My granddad, he used to live in New York, the Bronx actually. My granddad lived in the Bronx. I have family in Queens, family in Syracuse. So I have family, in different parts of New York. But as far as like from there, I mean, would you consider from New York if my parents uh how can I say it? I was made in New York, but I'm not from there if that makes sense. I'm in Queens, so I'm a Spider-Man. Hey, that's what's up. Oh, I gotta ask. In Queens, do y'all have like a Spider-Man mural anywhere? Like I'm sure that there is, but do you guys have like that in Queens? Cause I that would be dope. I would love to. Nah, you gotta be living here most of your life. Okay, yeah, yeah. Uh, so New York is definitely a place that I want to like travel to, and things like that. So if there are any places in New York that you would want me to, go to, travel to, things like that, let me know. I would love to go to different areas. I know certain areas in New York are kind of rough, so those areas I definitely am not trying to go to. But the areas that have some different things and restaurants and places to check out. Nothing with Spider Man, sadly. Makes no sense as far as I know. Yeah, like that's interesting. Like I thought there would be like some kind of like Spider-Man mural or like a Spider-Man shop or something in Queens. Maybe someone will have to create that. New York has been on the decline, unfortunately, especially in light of certain political things going on. I have heard about some of the things going on in New York, and yeah, I get it. I get it for sure. Yeah. It's crazy times right now, that's for sure. I'll be honest with you. Some definitely some weird, crazy times. So I get what you mean. Did you watch Kevin Hart's new show, the Lil Kev? I haven't watched it yet. Is it good? I haven't watched it yet. Like I said, I still have like a backlog of like shows and movies that I'm trying to catch up on. I gotta catch back up on the Everybody Hates Chris cartoon. I watched like an episode or two of that, and I stopped watching it because I so many other things were coming out at the time, and I just didn't have time to go back to it. I'm interested in the Lil Kev show. Okay, so you guys seem to be interested in the Lil Kev show. I can definitely talk about it. I can check it out and kind of give my thoughts. It does remind me of Everybody Hates Chris. Okay, if you ever come back to Queens, Amherst Famous Pizza is my favorite. There's two of them. Okay, I'm gonna remember that. Elmhurst Famous Pizza. I'm gonna write that down. I have like a list of places that I want to go to in New York, so I'll definitely put that down. You would look great going growing out a goatee. I had a goatee in high school, but it didn't look right with me. So I was like, I'm gonna shave that. So I just shaved it. I'm not really too big on facial hair. Like I don't like having all this. Like I'm more of like a clean cut guy, you know, like the mustache. That's sort of as far as I'll go with facial hair. Um, but yeah, yeah. Did you guys have like any other thoughts or theories on Daredevil? Because I'm gonna end the stream in like a few minutes. I get it. We all got different kinds of facial hair, and certain kinds of things work for us. And I just think personally, I don't, you know, I just don't think all of this is for me. I think the clean cut thing, that's sort of my vibe. So yeah. Hey, I appreciate y'all subbing. I appreciate y'all subbing. You know, I'm not the best streamer. I don't have the biggest setup about, I don't have the best setup and stuff. I'm still trying to work on that. I'm trying to work on OBS, getting that all set up so I can have a better setup. But once I get that set up, we're gonna be good. I'm gonna start trying to do more things and stuff. So I appreciate y'all subbing. Just stay tuned. I got a lot of good stuff coming for the channel. Um, I appreciate the compliment. Appreciate the compliment. I feel that, bro. I get the same vibe. I'm one of those people who can't rock a certain look sometimes when it comes to trying styles, but it helps us learn what we enjoy. Yeah, like I tried to grow out a beard, and it just did not look right on me. Like I after like 3 weeks of having it, I just shaved it off. I was like, nah, I look, I just don't look right with it. So I just got rid of it. Um, I didn't even take it was like so bad. Like I didn't even take pictures of it because I didn't like it. Um, so I decided I was like, yeah, I'm more of a clean cut kind of guy, more of a baby face in a way. So, but yeah, I'm probably gonna end the stream. If you guys have like any more comments, feel free to comment now. Waiting for your next upload. I hope you have a great day. Yeah, I'm gonna try to upload. Like I said, I have a video idea, or I have like two video ideas this week that I might put up. So I gotta get started on recording those. So just keep your notifications on and things like that. And I'm sure you guys will get them. Like I said, I got a stream that I'm gonna plan for Daredevil Born Again, episode 3. That's gonna be on Thursday because I would do it on Wednesday, but I know people are kind of Tuesday night, Wednesday. I know people are kind of trying to watch it on those 2 days. So I want to try to do it on a day where I'm sure people would at least be kind of caught up with it. So that's why I'm doing it on Thursday. Cool stream, bro. Till next time. Hey, man, John B. I mean, not John B. Why I say John B? I'm thinking of the singer, John M. I appreciate you coming to the stream. I don't know if this is your first time. I think this might be your first time, but maybe you've been around for some time. I appreciate you coming through on the stream and stuff. You've brought a lot of great conversation to the topic today and some other things. So definitely please come by in the next stream. I would definitely appreciate it. And just everybody, everybody came through with some great conversation. Like I said, I love doing these streams and stuff, and it's great to just interact with you guys and stuff because I don't really get to do that much. So when I have the opportunity to, I try to, take advantage, not take advantage, that doesn't sound right, but I try to take the opportunity to as best as I can. So, but yeah, like I said, I appreciate you guys coming through. Like I said, Thursday for sure. There's gonna be a stream, possibly a video or two this week. I don't want to make any promises because I'm still trying to recharge from being like overworked with YouTube. But yeah, like I said, appreciate you guys. Thank you all so much. To the people on the replay, I'd love to hear your thoughts about Daredevil Born Again, the first two episodes. Did you enjoy them? Did you like them? Were some things you liked? Were some things you didn't like? Definitely let me know in the comments. Let's discuss it. This has been Jace Live. And as I always say, if you guys have a goal, go for it. Do it better than anything you could ever imagine. And the path you will follow, it will take you where you need to go. So yeah, with that being said, yeah, understandable. Yeah, so with that being said, big love to you all, and peace out.